Hi. In this video, I'm going to talk about stasis theory and its relation to our main text for week 2, the main text for the course, as a matter of fact, which is going to be this little book, Demagogy and Democracy. You can read the book first and then go back and look at the stasis theory handout or printout that's available for you in PDF, but I would probably recommend that you read the stasis theory printout before, and that really comes into play pages 18 to 20, and then throughout the book, because the author, Patricia Roberts Miller, talks about the importance of the stases, which is plural for stasis, importance of recognizing which stasis people are on, or different stases that they are on throughout the book. So you might want to start with the printout. That's what the first page is from a book, obviously called Ancient Rhetorics for Contemporary Students. In this chapter, they talk about stasis theory, and again, stasis is one. Stases, usually spelled S-T-A-S-E-S, but theirs has an extra I in it. Stases are more than one stasis. These are best referred to as questions or issues, and there are lots of different ways to organize stasis theory. Different philosophers and rhetoricians posed different configurations and order in their classical texts. So they represent one such order in the Crowley and Haughey chapter. Roberts Miller presents them in a different way, or doesn't really specify what she's talking about with stasis theory except for in passing. So I'll just let you know that the way it's presented in the chapter is, of course, conjecture, definition, quality, and policy. Those are 4 questions. The way I have learned about stasis theory in the past is a little bit different. It would be the existence, like conjecture, does a problem exist? And then definition, defining what the problem is. Quality, what are the qualities of the problem? How can we break it out into different pieces? Then cause as its own stasis, what caused it, or what will this plan, or what is caused by the problem? And then a plan or a policy, or taking some course of action. So sometimes cause is regarded as its own stasis. It's rolled into conjecture, sort of in this chapter. But these are, different people's versions of explaining just the basic principle that you need to be on the same page, talking about the same issue, answering the same question if you are to make progress in argumentation. So Roberts Miller uses different terms, talking about need and cause and the feasibility of a plan. She's really on the policy. Talks about the policy stasis a lot, and I'll let you answer in the discussion board if you wish what more specifically she has to say about stasis theory and demagogy. So the stases themselves can vary in how they're represented. It's important to note in forensic rhetoric, which is one of the 3 genres. There's forensic, which looks at the past, like what lawyers do. Deliberative, which is what Roberts Miller mostly talks about, what we should do in the future, and epideictic rhetoric, which is about what are our values in the present. In forensic rhetoric, what lawyers do, the order is pretty important. So conjecture would be, was there a crime committed, or is there a body? Was there a murder? Definition would be, does it qualify as murder? Is it manslaughter? Was it spur of the moment? Was it premeditated? Questions like that for defining what the action was. And then the qualities, like was it malicious? Did they have help? What other qualities that the murder or the crime might have? And then plan or policy, what should we do about it after we've established the facts of the case? The order is not as important in other debates. And I think the abortion debate that's towards the end of the stasis chapter is a good example, because they find all different ways that people are arguing about the abortion debate and how it's a good one for looking at because the sides in the debate have trouble moving past defining what abortion is. Is it murder or is it not? Having said that, I will offer you some guides through the chapter, or at least parts to focus on. So the first part of the chapter is about theoretical questions or practical questions, and then general questions and specific questions. You can skim that because that's not as helpful for you in understanding the main text, which is again demagoguery and democracy, which deals more with the Stasis, but it does give you an idea of how many ways you can phrase a question, like what, moving from general to specific, theoretical to practical, what are the different questions you can ask and what questions have to be asked and answered before you even get to that step. Those are some good examples of looking at different ways that communities move through different phases of debate about complicated questions. So you can skim that. You can move into page 85, which is where the stasis theory content appears, and mostly focus on the example they provide of the abortion debate, not so much the hate speech example, unless you just want another example and you find this stuff interesting, which I hope you do. So the Stasis chapter is in service of understanding stasis theory, which Robert Miller refers to quite a bit throughout Demagoguery and Democracy. I hope that helps answer some questions, gives you some tips about the order and where to focus on in the readings for week 2. And I look forward to seeing your discussion about rhetoric and demagoguery.